The grand Westwood mansion stood like a glowing beacon against the evening sky. Light poured from every window, and the sound of laughter and clinking glasses drifted through the open terrace doors. Inside, the wealthy and influential of the city mingled, dressed in clothes that cost more than what Lily made in 3 months. Lily adjusted her white server's uniform and took a deep breath. This was her 5th event with elite catering, but she still got nervous before each one. At 23, she was trying to put herself through music school while helping her mom with rent. These catering gigs paid better than her daytime cafe job, so she couldn't afford to mess up. Remember, no eye contact unless spoken to, and always approach from the left, whispered May, the head server, as she passed by with a tray of champagne flutes. Got it? Lily nodded, picking up her own tray of tiny food creations she couldn't even pronounce. As she weaved through the crowd offering hors d'oeuvres, Lily tried to keep her eyes down as instructed, but something across the room caught her attention. In the far corner of the massive living room sat a beautiful grand piano, its polished black surface gleaming under the crystal chandelier. Lily nearly stumbled, causing a small crab puff to slide dangerously close to the edge of her tray. She quickly steadied herself, hoping no one had noticed. That piano was a Steinway, the kind she'd only seen in magazines and concert halls. The kind her piano teacher, Mrs. Abernathy, had once told her was the voice of angels. For the next hour, Lily found herself sneaking glances at the instrument whenever her path took her near that corner of the room. No one approached it. No one seemed to even notice it was there, treating it like an expensive piece of furniture rather than an instrument of possibility. "What are you staring at?" asked Thomas, another server, as they met in the kitchen to refill their trays. Lily blushed. "The piano. It's incredible." "Better focus on not dropping anything," Thomas warned. "Last guy who messed up got fired on the spot." Lily nodded, but her eyes drifted once more to the piano as she returned to the party. The caterers weren't allowed to use their phones during events, or she would have taken a picture to show her mom. Growing up, they'd had an old upright piano that her mother had found at a yard sale. The middle C key stuck and several of the black keys were missing, but it had been enough for Lily to fall in love with music. They'd had to sell it 3 years ago when her mom got sick. The medical bills had piled up and choices had to be made. Now Lily practiced on the public pianos at school, always conscious of the other students waiting for their turn. "Miss, could I get another one of these?" A gray-haired woman in a blue dress held up an empty toothpick. "Of course, ma'am." Lily offered her tray, grateful for the distraction from her thoughts. As the night progressed, Lily learned bits and pieces about the party from conversations she overheard while serving. It was a celebration for someone named Alex, who had just sold his tech company for millions. The guests talked about stock options and market valuations, vacation homes and yacht purchases. It was like they were speaking another language, one Lily had never learned. "That's him," whispered Danny, a fellow server, nodding toward a man standing by the fireplace. "The birthday boy, Alex Chen, 29 years old and worth more millions than I can count." Lily glanced over. She'd expected someone older, perhaps with the smug expression she'd seen on the faces of many wealthy guests throughout the evening. Instead, she saw a young Asian man in a well-fitted suit who looked slightly uncomfortable with all the attention. He smiled politely as people approached him, but there was something reserved in his manner, as if he'd rather be somewhere else. "Heard he's some kind of genius," Danny continued. "Started coding when he was 12 or something. But he's nice, not stuck up like most of these people." "Does he live here?" Lily asked, still watching him. "Yeah, bought this place last year after his first big success. Rumor has it he grew up poor, so now he's living the dream." May appeared suddenly behind them. "Less chatting, more working," she hissed. "And Lily, you need to clear the empty glasses from the study." Lily hurried to the quiet study, grateful for a moment away from the crowd. The room was lined with bookshelves and had a desk that looked like it had never been used. As she gathered abandoned glasses onto her tray, she overheard voices just outside the partially open door. "Come on, Alex. When are you going to start playing again?" A woman's voice, slightly slurred from champagne. "I told you, Rachel, those days are behind me." The voice was male, probably belonging to the birthday celebrant himself. "Such a waste. All those years of lessons and competitions, and now you never touch a piano." "I don't have time anymore. The company, you sold the company. That's what we're celebrating, remember? Now you have nothing but time." Their voices faded as they walked away, but Lily stood frozen, the glasses forgotten in her hands. Alex Chen played the piano? Or used to, at least. She thought about the beautiful Steinway sitting untouched in the living room. What she wouldn't give for just 5 minutes with an instrument like that. By 10 o'clock, some guests had begun to leave. Lily was clearing plates from the dining room when she noticed Alex Chen standing alone by the window, looking out at the city lights. Before she could stop herself, she spoke. "Excuse me, Mr. Chen." He turned, surprised. Servers weren't supposed to initiate conversation with guests. It was rule number 3 in the elite catering handbook. "Yes?" he replied, looking at her curiously. Lily swallowed hard. Her heart was pounding so loudly she was sure he could hear it. "I'm sorry to bother you. I couldn't help noticing the piano. It's beautiful." His expression softened slightly. "It is, isn't it? A gift from my parents when I sold my first company. Do you play?" Lily asked, though she already knew the answer. "I used to. Not much anymore." He studied her face. "Do you?" Lily nodded. "I'm studying piano performance at City College. Well, part-time. I work to pay the bills. Like catering birthday parties for strangers?" There was no judgment in his tone, just a gentle amusement. "Exactly like that," Lily smiled, then remembered her place. "I should get back to work. I'm sorry to have bothered you." "You didn't bother me," he said. "It's nice to talk about something other than investment opportunities for a change." May appeared at Lily's elbow. "We need you in the kitchen," she said firmly, giving Alex an apologetic smile. "Of course." Lily nodded and hurried away, her cheeks burning with embarrassment. She'd broken protocol and would probably get reprimanded later, maybe even fired. Stupid, stupid, stupid. In the kitchen, chaos reigned as the staff prepared for dessert service. Lily was assigned to coffee duty, which meant circulating with pots of regular and decaf. As she worked, she tried to push the encounter with Alex from her mind, but she couldn't stop thinking about the piano. What would it be like to play an instrument like that? To feel the weight of those perfect keys beneath her fingers? To hear the richness of tone that only came from the finest craftsmanship? The piano at school was decent, but nothing like a Steinway. The party was winding down with only about 30 guests remaining, mostly gathered in small groups throughout the living room. Lily moved between them with her coffee pots, offering refills. When she approached the area near the piano, she slowed down, allowing herself one more longing look. "You really love it, don't you?" The voice startled her. Alex Chen had appeared beside her. "I'm sorry, I didn't mean to stare," Lily said quickly. "No need to apologize." He glanced at the piano, then back at her. "What's your name?" "Lily. Lily Nguyen. Would you like to play it, Lily?" Her eyes widened. "I couldn't possibly." "Why not?" "It's my piano, and it's my party." He gestured toward the instrument. "It shouldn't just sit there looking pretty. It should make music." May was across the room, her back turned as she served an elderly couple. Lily knew she should politely decline and continue working, but the opportunity was too precious to pass up. "Are you sure?" she asked, her voice barely above a whisper. "Completely. Just one song before you have to go back to coffee duty." His eyes crinkled at the corners when he smiled, and Lily found herself smiling back. She set her coffee pots on a side table and walked toward the piano, feeling as if she were in a dream. The conversations around them quieted as people noticed their host and a server in uniform heading to the piano. Lily's hands trembled slightly as she sat down on the bench, feeling the smooth wood beneath her. She placed her fingers on the keys, not yet pressing down, just feeling their cool, ivory surface. The piano at school had plastic keys, worn down by thousands of student fingers over the years. These felt different, substantial, real. Alex stood beside the piano, watching her with curious eyes. The room had grown quiet, and Lily suddenly realized that everyone was staring at her. What was she doing? This wasn't her world. These weren't her people. This wasn't her piano. But then she looked at Alex, who gave her an encouraging nod, and she took a deep breath. Music was her world, and for this one moment, this magnificent piano was hers too. As her fingers began to move across the keys, playing the opening notes of Debussy's Clair de Lune, Lily closed her eyes. The rich, resonant sound filled the room, and everything else, the party, the guests, her uniform, her worries about rent and tuition, faded away. There was only the music flowing from her heart through her fingers and into the And for those few minutes, the poor girl serving at a millionaire's party became the most important person in the room, though she was too lost in the music to notice the surprised and appreciative glances of the guests, or the way Alex Chen watched her with newfound interest, as if seeing her, truly seeing her for the first time. The last notes of Clair de Lune hung in the air like a lingering perfume. For a moment, the room remained silent, as if everyone was collectively holding their breath. Lily opened her eyes, suddenly remembering where she was and what she had done. Heat rushed to her cheeks as she realized all eyes were on her. Then the applause began. It started with Alex, who stood beside the piano with an expression of genuine surprise and admiration. The guests quickly joined in, their faces showing various degrees of astonishment. A woman in a red dress leaned over to whisper to her companion, her eyes never leaving Lily. "That was extraordinary," Alex said when the clapping died down. "Where did you learn to play like that?" Lily's hands remained on the keys, unwilling to break contact with the magnificent instrument. "I've been playing since I was 6, she said quietly. "My mom found an old piano at a yard sale. It wasn't anything like this one, but it was enough to start with." She stood up quickly, remembering her place. "Thank you for letting me play. I should get back to work." "Wait." Alex touched her arm lightly. "Would you play something else, please?" May was now staring at them from across the room, her expression a mixture of confusion and disapproval. Lily caught her eye and received a slight shake of the head in response. "I can't," she whispered to Alex. "I'll lose my job." Alex looked over at May, then back at Lily. "Give me 1 minute," he said before walking purposefully across the room toward the head server. Lily stood awkwardly by the piano, aware of the curious glances from the remaining party guests. A gray-haired man in an expensive suit approached her. "That was quite impressive, young lady," he said. "Are you a professional?" "No, sir. I'm studying music at City College, part-time." "Only part-time? With talent like that?" He looked genuinely perplexed. Lily gave a small shrug. "Full-time isn't an option when you have bills to pay." The man nodded thoughtfully and was about to say something else when Alex returned, a satisfied smile on his face. "It's all arranged," he told Lily. "You've been officially relieved of your serving duties for the remainder of the evening." "What? But I need this job." "With full pay, of course," Alex added quickly. "Actually double pay. I asked your supervisor if I could borrow you as the evening's entertainment instead." She wasn't thrilled, but she agreed. Lily glanced over at May, who gave her a tight-lipped nod before turning back to direct the other servers. "So," Alex continued, "would you do us the honor of playing a bit more? Unless you'd rather go back to pouring coffee." There was a teasing light in his eyes that made Lily smile despite her nervousness. "What would you like to hear?" she asked, sitting back down at the piano. "Whatever moves you," Alex replied. He pulled up a chair beside the piano, close enough to watch her hands but not so close as to make her uncomfortable. Lily thought for a moment, then began to play Chopin's Nocturne in E-flat major. The sweet, dreamy melody filled the room, drawing the remaining guests closer. As she played, Lily felt the tension leaving her body. This was what she loved, what she lived for, making music that touched people's hearts. When she finished, the applause was even more enthusiastic than before. She played another piece and another after that. Between songs, guests came up to compliment her, asking about her background and training. For the first time since arriving at the mansion, Lily felt visible, not as a server to be ignored or ordered around, but as a person with something valuable to offer. Alex stayed by the piano throughout her impromptu performance, occasionally requesting a piece he knew or asking questions about her technique. He was knowledgeable about music in a way that surprised her, given what she'd overheard about his focus on technology and business. After about an hour, the party had thinned considerably. Only about a dozen guests remained, most of them apparently close friends of Alex who had settled into comfortable conversations around the room. Lily finished a lively Gershwin piece and flexed her fingers. "I should probably stop monopolizing your party," she said to Alex. "This is your celebration, after all." "Are you kidding? This is the best birthday gift I could have received." He handed her a glass of water that he'd brought over earlier. "You've reminded me of something I'd forgotten." "What's that?" Lily asked, taking a sip. "The joy of music for its own sake." Alex looked at the piano with a mixture of fondness and regret. "I used to play all the time. It was my first love long before coding or business. Why did you stop?" The question slipped out before Lily could consider whether it was too personal. Alex didn't seem to mind. Life got in the way. I started my first company at 22, and suddenly there were investors and employees counting on me. The piano became this luxury I couldn't afford time for. He ran his fingers lightly over the keys without pressing them down. My parents gave me this Steinway when I sold my first company. They thought I'd start playing again once I had made it, but by then I was already deep into my second venture. Lily nodded, understanding more than he might have expected. Sometimes I wonder if I'm being impractical pursuing music. The responsible thing would be to switch to business or something with better job prospects. Don't. The word came out sharply, surprising them both. Alex softened his tone. Don't give it up. Not if it's what you truly love. Easy for a millionaire to say, Lily replied with a small smile to show she wasn't being bitter. Fair point. Alex laughed. But money doesn't guarantee happiness. Trust me on that. A tall woman with striking silver hair approached them. Alex, darling, we're heading out. Phenomenal party, as always. She turned to Lily. And you, my dear, are a revelation. Absolutely exquisite playing. Thank you, Lily said, feeling slightly overwhelmed by the praise. Victoria owns the symphony hall, Alex explained after the woman had kissed his cheek and moved toward the exit. She knows talent when she hears it. The remaining guests began to leave in twos and threes, each stopping to compliment Lily on their way out. By midnight, only Alex and a few of his closest friends remained, along with the catering staff who were quietly cleaning up around them. I should help, Lily said, watching May directing the breakdown of the serving stations. Absolutely not, Alex replied. You're off duty, remember? Besides, I want to show you something. He stood up and gestured for her to follow him. Lily hesitated, glancing at May, who gave her a resigned wave that clearly said, Go ahead. Alex led her through the main living area and down a hallway lined with modern art pieces. He opened a door at the end and flipped on the lights, revealing a room that made Lily gasp. It was a music room, with sound-absorbing panels on the walls and a polished wood floor. In the center stood another grand piano, not a Steinway this time, but a beautiful Bösendorfer. Around the edges of the room were display cases containing various instruments, a violin, a clarinet, a vintage guitar. Your music room, Lily breathed, taking it all in. My abandoned music room, Alex corrected, walking over to one of the cases. I haven't been in here for months. Lily approached the Bösendorfer reverently. May I? Please. She sat down and played a few notes, marveling at the rich, warm tone that was distinctly different from the Steinway in the living room. It's incredible. Why do you have two grand pianos? The Steinway was a gift, as I mentioned. This one I bought myself when I first moved in. I had grand plans of getting back to my music. Alex shook his head ruefully. That lasted about 3 weeks before I got pulled into another project. He opened one of the cases and removed the violin, handling it with the care of someone who knew its value. This was my grandmother's. She taught me my first notes when I was 4. You play violin too? Lily asked, impressed. Played, he corrected. Past tense for pretty much all of this now. He returned the violin to its case and came to sit beside her on the piano bench, leaving a respectful distance between them. What else can you play? Lily thought for a moment, then began a gentle rendition of Billy Joel's Piano Man. To her surprise, Alex started to sing along softly, his voice a pleasant baritone that complemented the melody. When they finished, he was smiling more genuinely than he had all evening. That's my dad's favorite. He used to sing it while my mom played. They sound like wonderful parents, they are. Immigrants who worked multiple jobs to give me every opportunity. He touched a key absently. They'd be disappointed to know I've let music slide so far out of my life. It's not too late to pick it up again, Lily suggested. Alex looked at her thoughtfully. No, I suppose it isn't. He stood up and walked to a desk in the corner of the room, returning with a business card that he handed to her. I have a proposition for you, Lily Nguyen. She took the card, which simply had his name and contact information. What kind of proposition? I want to hire you as my piano teacher. Lily laughed, thinking he was joking, but his expression remained serious. You can't be serious. I'm still a student myself. A very talented student who clearly has both skill and passion. 2 things I need to rediscover. He sat back down. 1 hour a week at whatever rate you charge for lessons, plus a bonus for having to deal with a rusty, out-of-practice student. Lily looked down at the card in her hand, her mind racing. The money would be helpful, incredibly so, but there was something else too. The idea of helping someone reconnect with music, especially someone who clearly had talent and appreciation for it. I don't know, she said hesitantly. Wouldn't you prefer someone with more experience? A professor from the conservatory, maybe? I've had professors. What I need now is inspiration. Alex's eyes were earnest. The way you played tonight. You reminded me of why I loved music in the first place. Not as a technical achievement or something to master, but as a way to express what can't be said in words. Lily felt a blush creeping up her neck at the intensity in his gaze. Let me think about it, she finally said. Of course. Take all the time you need. He stood up and offered her his hand. In the meantime, I should probably let you go. I'm sure you've had a long night. She took his hand, noting the calluses on his fingertips, remnants of his own years of playing that hadn't completely faded despite his hiatus. It turned out better than I expected, she admitted with a smile. As they walked back toward the main room, Lily couldn't help but wonder if she was dreaming. The evening had taken such an unexpected turn, from serving appetizers to potentially teaching piano to a millionaire tech entrepreneur. Life was strange sometimes. There you are. May's voice cut through her thoughts. The van is leaving in 5 minutes, with or without you. I'm coming, Lily called back. She turned to Alex. Thank you for tonight. For letting me play your piano. Thank you for reminding me what it's supposed to be used for. He walked her to the front entrance where the other servers were gathering their things. I hope I'll hear from you about those lessons. Lily nodded, suddenly shy again under the curious gazes of her co-workers. Good night, Mr. Chen. Alex, he corrected with a smile. Good night, Lily. As the catering van pulled away from the mansion, Lily sat quietly in the back, the business card tucked safely in her pocket. The other servers peppered her with questions about what had happened and how she'd ended up playing at the party. But she answered vaguely, still processing the events herself. What she didn't tell them was how, for the first time in years, she felt like her dream of a life in music might not be so impossible after all. The morning after the party, Lily woke to the blaring of her alarm clock. She groaned and reached out to silence it, her fingers still feeling the phantom sensation of the Steinway's keys. For a moment, she wondered if the events of the previous night had been a dream. Playing at a millionaire's birthday party, being applauded by the city's elite, receiving a job offer to teach piano to Alex Chen himself. The business card on her nightstand confirmed it had all been real. She picked it up, running her thumb over the embossed lettering. Lily, you up? Her mother's voice called from the kitchen of their small 2-bedroom apartment. I made coffee. Coming, Mom, she replied, setting the card back down and pulling herself out of bed. In the kitchen, her mother was already dressed for her shift at the hospital where she worked as a nurse's aide. At 48, Hien Nguyen looked older than her years, her face lined with the evidence of a hard life, but her eyes remained bright and determined. How was the catering job? She asked, sliding a mug of coffee across the counter to Lily. You got home late. Lily wrapped her hands around the warm mug. It was unexpected, she said, unable to keep a small smile from forming. She recounted the events of the night, her mother's eyes growing wider with each detail. You played a Steinway? A real Steinway? Hien asked, her expression a mixture of pride and wistfulness. She had been the one who taught Lily her first notes on their old yard sale piano, before they could afford proper lessons. It was incredible, Mom, like nothing I've ever played before. Lily took a sip of coffee, and now this guy wants me to teach him. He's offering good money, but I don't know. It seems weird, doesn't it? Hien considered this. Not so weird. Rich people hire teachers for many things. Tennis, languages, cooking. She shrugged. Why not piano? But I'm still a student myself, a student who just impressed a room full of wealthy people. Hien smiled and patted her daughter's hand. This could be a good opportunity, Lily. Extra money never hurts. Lily nodded, thinking of their constantly precarious finances. Her mother's job covered the rent and basic necessities, while Lily's part-time work paid for her tuition and helped with groceries. There was never anything left over for emergencies or, heaven forbid, luxuries. I'll think about it, she promised. Good, now I have to go or I'll miss my bus. Ian kissed the top of Lily's head before grabbing her purse. "Don't forget you promised to look at the leak under the sink today." "I won't," Lily called as her mother headed out the door. After finishing her coffee, Lily spent the morning practicing on her keyboard, a basic digital model that her mother had surprised her with last Christmas. It was nothing like the grand piano she'd played last night, but it had weighted keys and served its purpose. Today, though, it felt particularly inadequate, like trying to capture a sunset with a black and white camera. Later, as promised, she tackled the leaking sink, a task that required 2 trips to the hardware store and several YouTube tutorials. By late afternoon, her hands were grimy, her hair was pulled back in a messy ponytail, and she was far removed from the elegant piano player of the previous night. Just as she was washing up, her phone rang. "Unknown number, hello?" she answered cautiously. "Lily? It's Alex Chen. From last night." Lily nearly dropped the phone, suddenly very aware of her disheveled appearance despite the fact that he couldn't see her. "Oh, hi, how did you get my number?" "Elite Catering," he replied. "Hope you don't mind. I wanted to follow up about the piano lessons we discussed." Lily dried her hands on a towel, buying time to collect her thoughts. "Right, about that. If you're not interested, I understand completely," Alex said quickly. "No pressure. It's not that. Lily paused. "I'm not sure I'm qualified to teach someone like you." "Someone like me?" There was a hint of amusement in his voice. "You mean a rusty pianist who hasn't seriously practiced in years?" Despite her nervousness, Lily laughed. "You know what I mean. You probably had world-class teachers." "I did," Alex acknowledged. "And they were all technically brilliant and completely uninspiring. What I saw when you played last night was something different, something real." Lily sat down at her small kitchen table, turning his words over in her mind. "When would you want to start?" she heard herself asking. "How about this weekend? Saturday morning? I could send a car to pick you up." The offer was tempting, but Lily shook her head even though he couldn't see her. "No need for that. I can take the bus. Just text me the address." She wanted to maintain some sense of independence in this arrangement. "If you're sure," Alex said. "How does 11 o'clock sound?" "That works." Lily bit her lip, then added, "About payment? Name your rate," Alex interrupted. "Whatever you normally charge for lessons, plus extra for the commute." Lily hesitated. She'd never actually charged for lessons before, having only helped a few neighborhood kids informally. "How about $40 an hour?" she suggested, picking a figure that seemed reasonable but not excessive. There was a pause on the other end. "Lily," Alex finally said, "professional piano teachers in this city charge at least 3 times that amount." Her face flushed with embarrassment. "Oh, I didn't. Let's say 100 an hour plus 50 for travel time. And we'll start with a 2-hour session this Saturday. Does that work for you? $250 for one day?" That was almost a week's pay at the cafe. "That's very generous," Lily managed to say. "It's the going rate for quality instruction," Alex replied matter-of-factly. "I'll text you the details. See you Saturday." After they hung up, Lily sat at the table for a long while staring at her phone. The prospect of that much money was dizzying, but it wasn't just about the payment. There was something about Alex Chen that intrigued her. A successful tech entrepreneur who still yearned for music, who recognized its value beyond the practical. She looked around their modest apartment with its mismatched furniture and water stains on the ceiling. With money like that, she could help her mother fix the constant household problems. Maybe even start saving for a real piano someday. The decision made itself. Saturday morning arrived with a mix of sunshine and nervous butterflies. Lily spent extra time getting ready, wanting to look professional but not trying too hard. She settled on black jeans, a simple blue blouse, and minimal makeup. Her long black hair was tied back in a neat ponytail, and she wore her one pair of decent shoes, low heels that were comfortable enough for teaching but nicer than her everyday sneakers. The bus ride to Alex's neighborhood took nearly an hour, requiring 2 transfers. As the scenery outside the window gradually transformed from her working-class area to increasingly upscale neighborhoods, Lily felt like she was traveling to another world. When she finally arrived at the Westwood mansion, she stood at the gate for a moment, gathering her courage. It looked different in daylight, less intimidating but no less impressive. She pressed the intercom button, announced herself, and the gate swung open silently. Alex himself opened the front door before she could knock. Dressed casually in jeans and a simple gray t-shirt that probably cost more than her entire outfit. "You made it," he said with a genuine smile. "Come in. Can I get you something to drink?" "Coffee? Tea? Water?" "Water would be great, thanks." Lily stepped inside, once again taking in the grandeur of the entrance hall with its soaring ceiling and modern art. Alex led her to the kitchen, a gleaming space of stainless steel and marble that looked barely used. He filled a glass with filtered water from the refrigerator and handed it to her. "I thought we'd work in the music room," he said. "It has better acoustics than the living room, and fewer distractions." Lily nodded, following him down the now familiar hallway to the music room. In daylight, it was even more impressive, with large windows letting in natural light that made the Bosendorfer gleam. "This is a beautiful space," she commented, setting her bag down on a chair. "It is," Alex agreed. "Shame I don't use it more often." He gestured toward the piano. "So, teacher, where do we begin?" The formality of the title made Lily hesitate, but she took a deep breath and shifted into the role she'd agreed to play. "First, I'd like to hear where you're at. Could you play something for me? Anything you feel comfortable with." Alex looked suddenly nervous, a strange expression on someone who had likely given presentations to boardrooms full of investors. "It's been a while," he warned. "That's okay. No judgment here." He sat at the piano, flexed his fingers, and began to play Beethoven's Moonlight Sonata. His technique was rusty, with occasional missed notes and uneven tempo, but there was something honest in his playing, a genuine feeling for the music that technical perfection couldn't teach. Lily listened intently, watching his hands and his expression. When he finished, he looked up at her almost anxiously, waiting for her verdict. "You have a solid foundation," she said truthfully. "Your fingering is mostly correct, though your hand position gets a bit tense in the difficult passages. But what's most important is that you haven't lost your musicality." Relief washed over his face. "So I'm not hopeless?" "Far from it," Lily smiled. "You just need to rebuild your muscle memory and technique. With regular practice, you'll be back to form faster than you might think." For the next 2 hours, they worked together on hand exercises, scales, and simple pieces to help Alex regain his finger strength and coordination. He was an attentive student, following her instructions with the focus of someone used to mastering difficult skills. "You're a good teacher," he commented during a short break. "You explain things clearly." "Thanks," Lily said, pleased by the compliment. "I've never actually taught formally before, but I've helped some kids in my neighborhood. Could have fooled me." Alex stretched his fingers, which were clearly getting tired. "You have a natural way of breaking things down." As the lesson continued, Lily found herself relaxing into the role. The initial awkwardness of their different backgrounds faded as they connected through the universal language of music. She forgot that he was a millionaire tech entrepreneur, and she was a struggling student. In the music room, they were simply pianist and teacher, sharing something they both loved. When the 2 hours were up, Lily began gathering her notes. "You did really well for your first lesson back. If you practice those exercises we went through, even just 15 minutes a day, you'll see improvement quickly." "I will," Alex promised. He walked over to a desk in the corner and returned with an envelope. "Here's for today." Lily accepted it with a small "thank you," trying not to show how significant the amount inside was to her. "Same time next Saturday?" "Actually," Alex said, looking slightly hesitant, "I was wondering if we could make it twice a week. Perhaps Saturdays and Wednesdays? I'm finding that I've really missed this and I'd like to progress more quickly." The thought of doubling her income from these lessons made Lily's heart leap, but she kept her expression professional. "I think that could work. I have classes on Wednesday mornings, but I could come in the afternoon." "Perfect." Alex walked her to the front door. "Oh, and I was also thinking, that keyboard you mentioned practicing on. It can't be ideal for developing your own skills." Lily shrugged, slightly embarrassed. "It's better than nothing. Would you be comfortable practicing here sometimes? After our lessons, perhaps? The pianos just sit here unused most of the time." The offer was so tempting that Lily felt her resolve weakening. Access to not one but 2 world-class grand pianos. It was a pianist's dream. But she was also wary of becoming too indebted to him, of blurring the lines of their professional relationship. "That's very generous," she said carefully, "but I wouldn't want to impose." It's not an imposition if it's mutually beneficial, Alex replied. You get practice time on a good instrument, and my pianos get played the way they're supposed to be. Think about it? Lily nodded. I will. Thank you. As she walked back to the bus stop, envelope securely in her bag, Lily couldn't help but feel that something significant had shifted in her life. The path ahead still wasn't clear, but for the first time in a long while it seemed to be opening up rather than narrowing down. She pulled out her phone and called her mother. Hey Mom, guess what? We can finally get that sink fixed properly. Over the next few weeks a routine developed. Twice a week Lily would make the long bus journey to Alex's mansion, where they would spend 2 hours working on his piano skills. After their 4th lesson, she finally accepted his offer to stay and practice on the Bösendorfer after their sessions. The first time she sat alone at the magnificent instrument, with the afternoon sun streaming through the windows of the empty music room, she felt like she was stealing something precious, but that feeling quickly gave way to pure joy as she lost herself in the music. It was during one of these post-lesson practice sessions that everything changed. Lily was deep into a challenging piece by Rachmaninoff that she was preparing for her end-of-semester recital. Her professor at the college had been impressed with her recent progress, unaware that it was largely due to regular practice on a world-class instrument rather than the department's worn-out uprights. She was so absorbed in the music that she didn't notice Alex standing in the doorway until she finished the piece with a flourish. That was extraordinary, he said, startling her. Lily jumped slightly, her hands lifting from the keys. I thought you had a meeting. It ended early. Alex came into the room, his eyes bright with excitement. What was that piece? I've never heard you play like that before. Rachmaninoff's Piano Concerto No. 2. Well, an arrangement of it. Lily felt suddenly self-conscious. I'm working on it for my recital next month. Alex sat down in a chair near the piano. It's incredible. The emotion in your playing. He shook his head as if words failed him. You know, when I hired you as my teacher, I didn't realize I was getting lessons from a future concert pianist. Lily laughed, though the compliment warmed her. I'm nowhere near that level. I disagree. In fact, Alex hesitated, then continued with growing enthusiasm. I have an idea. My friend Victoria, you met her briefly at the party, she's hosting a charity gala at Symphony Hall next weekend. There's supposed to be a pianist performing, but I heard from her this morning that he had to cancel due to a family emergency. Lily's eyes widened as she began to understand where this was going. Alex, no, just hear me out, he said, leaning forward. It would be a 10-minute performance, just 1 or 2 pieces. The gala is raising money for music education in public schools. What better showcase than a talented young musician who came up through those very programs? Lily's heart raced at the mere thought of performing at Symphony Hall, even for just 10 minutes. It was the premier venue in the city, where world-famous musicians played. People like her didn't get opportunities like that without years of networking and competition wins. I can't, she said, shaking her head. That's a professional venue. They need a professional pianist. You play like a professional, Alex insisted. Better than most, actually, because you still have passion. All those technically perfect concert pianists who've been doing the circuit for decades. Many of them have lost what makes music special. You haven't. His faith in her was touching but terrifying. What if I mess up? What if I embarrass myself in front of all those people? Then you'll have tried something brave and life will go on. Alex's expression softened. Lily, opportunities like this don't come along every day. Not for anyone, but especially not for people like me, she finished, a hint of defensiveness creeping into her voice. People without connections, Alex corrected gently. You know as well as I do that classical music is still very much about who you know. I'm just offering to open a door. Whether you walk through it is entirely up to you. Lily turned back to the piano, running her fingers lightly over the keys without pressing them down. The thought of performing at Symphony Hall made her stomach twist with both longing and fear. What would her mother say? What would her professors think? Can I have some time to think about it? She finally asked. Of course, but Victoria will need an answer by tomorrow if she's going to include you in the program. Alex stood up. For what it's worth, I wouldn't suggest this if I didn't truly believe in your talent. After he left, Lily remained at the piano, her mind swirling with possibilities and fears. She played through the Rachmaninoff piece again, trying to imagine performing it on a stage rather than in this quiet room. Could she really do this? That evening, when she told her mother about Alex's offer, Hyun's reaction surprised her. "You must do it," she said firmly, setting down the bowl of pho she'd been preparing for dinner. "This is the chance we came to America for. But Mom, these are serious musicians, important people. What if I'm not ready?" Hyun took her daughter's hands in her own. "Listen to me. When your father and I left Vietnam, we had nothing but hope for a better future. Not for us, for you." Her eyes grew misty with rare tears. "He didn't live to see what you've become, but he would be so proud. So proud of your courage, your talent." Lily felt her own eyes welling up at the mention of her father, who had died when she was 12, a loss that had pushed their family from struggling to desperate for several years. "He always said you were born to play on big stages," Hyun continued. "Don't let fear steal this moment from you." The next day, Lily arrived at Alex's house for their regular Wednesday lesson with her decision made. "I'll do it," she told him as soon as he opened the door. "I'll play at the gala." Alex's face lit up with a grin. "Really, that's fantastic. Victoria will be thrilled." "But," Lily held up a finger, "I want to be clear that I'm doing this as myself, a music student who teaches piano on the side. Not as, I don't know, your protege or something." "Absolutely," Alex agreed quickly. "You'll be listed in the program under your own name, with your own bio. No mention of me unless you want there to be." Lily nodded, satisfied. "Then let's get to our lesson. You still need to work on that Bach piece." The next few days passed in a blur of preparation. Between her classes, her job at the cafe, and her lessons with Alex, Lily practiced every spare moment for her symphony hall debut. Alex had offered to let her come use his piano whenever she wanted, giving her a security code for the gate and front door, a level of trust that wasn't lost on her. The night before the gala, she stayed late at his house practicing until her fingers ached. Alex had gone out to a business dinner, leaving her alone with the magnificent Bosendorfer. Around 10 o'clock, she finally stopped, flexing her tired hands. Sounding good, she turned to find Alex in the doorway, his tie loosened and jacket slung over his shoulder. "How long have you been standing there?" she asked. "Just a few minutes." He came into the room and sat in his usual chair. "You're ready, you know." "I hope so." Lily began gathering her sheet music. "Tomorrow's the big day. Are you nervous?" "Terrified," she admitted with a small laugh. "But also excited. It's weird." "It's normal," Alex assured her. "Even professional musicians get pre-performance jitters. It's part of what makes a live performance special. That edge of fear, the risk of it all." Lily nodded, tucking her music into her bag. "I should go. It's getting late." "I can drive you home," Alex offered, not for the first time. "It's dark and the buses run less frequently at night." Usually Lily declined these offers, preferring to maintain her independence. But tonight, with her nerves about tomorrow and the lateness of the hour, she found herself nodding. "That would be nice, thanks." The drive to her apartment in Alex's sleek electric car took half the time of her usual bus journey. They rode mostly in comfortable silence, with soft classical music playing on the high-end sound system. When they pulled up outside her building, a stark contrast to his mansion with its peeling paint and security bars on the lower windows, Lily felt a moment of embarrassment. She'd never invited Alex into her world before. "Thank you for the ride," she said, reaching for the door handle. "Wait." Alex turned in his seat to face her. "I have something for you. For tomorrow." He reached into the back seat and handed her a flat, rectangular box. Lily took it hesitantly. "What's this?" "Just a small gift. For good luck." Lily opened the box to find a delicate silver bracelet with a single charm, a tiny grand piano. "Alex, I can't accept this." "It's too much." "It's not," he insisted. "It's just a token. Something to remind you that you belong on that stage tomorrow, as much as any musician who's ever played there." The sincerity in his eyes made it difficult to refuse. Lily ran a finger over the little piano charm. "It's beautiful." "Thank you." "You're welcome," he smiled. "Get some rest. Tomorrow's going to be amazing." The next evening found Lily in a small dressing room backstage at Symphony Hall, hardly able to believe she was really there. The bracelet Alex had given her sparkled on her wrist, a tangible reminder that this opportunity was real. She'd splurged on a simple black dress for the occasion, Nothing fancy, but more elegant than anything she'd owned before. Her mother had helped her style her hair in a neat updo, and for once, Lily felt like she looked the part of a serious musician. A knock at the door startled her from her thoughts. 5 minutes. Ms. Nguyen, called a stagehand. Thank you, she replied, her voice surprisingly steady despite the butterflies in her stomach. Another knock followed almost immediately, and the door opened to reveal Alex looking handsome in a tuxedo. You made it, Lily said, standing up from the small vanity. I wouldn't miss it for the world. He studied her for a moment. You look beautiful, and terrified. That made her laugh, breaking some of the tension. Is it that obvious? Only to someone who knows the look. Alex gave her an encouraging smile. The hall is packed. Victoria's thrilled. They've raised more money tonight than at the last 3 galas combined. No pressure or anything, Lily muttered, smoothing her dress nervously. Hey. Alex took a step closer. You've got this. Just play the way you do when it's just you and the piano. Forget about the audience, forget about me, forget about everything except the music. Lily took a deep breath and nodded. That's what my first piano teacher used to say. Let the music carry you. Smart teacher. Alex glanced at his watch. I should get back to my seat. Break a leg out there, Lily. After he left, Lily closed her eyes for a moment, centering herself. Then she walked out of the dressing room, down the corridor, and waited in the wings as Victoria introduced her to the audience. Delighted to present a young artist of exceptional talent, currently studying at City College but destined, I believe, for greater stages. And then it was time. Lily walked onto the stage, the spotlights momentarily blinding her. The grand piano at center stage gleamed under the lights, even more magnificent than Alex's Steinway or Bösendorfer. She took her seat, adjusted the bench, and placed her hands on the keys. For a heartbeat, panic threatened to overwhelm her. All these people, all these important people with their expectations and judgments. Then she looked down at the little piano charm on her bracelet, remembering Alex's words. Play like it's just you and the piano. Lily began to play the Rachmaninoff piece, and just like that, the audience disappeared. The lights dimmed in her awareness. There was only the music, flowing through her, around her, carrying her just as her teacher had said it would. When she finished, the silence lasted only a fraction of a second before the applause began. It built quickly, filling the hall with a sound more powerful than even the grandest chord she'd played. Lily stood and bowed, her heart pounding with exhilaration rather than fear now. As she looked out at the audience, she caught sight of Alex in the 3rd row, on his feet, clapping with unrestrained enthusiasm. Beside him stood her mother, tears streaming down her face even as she applauded her daughter's triumph. In that moment, standing on the stage of Symphony Hall with music still echoing in her soul, Lily realized that something fundamental had shifted. The girl who had nervously approached a millionaire's piano at a catering gig was gone. In her place stood a young woman who had glimpsed her own potential and could never go back to doubting it again. The morning after her Symphony Hall debut, Lily woke to the sound of her phone buzzing repeatedly. Groggily, she reached for it and was shocked to find dozens of notifications. Emails, text messages, and social media alerts. Someone had posted a video of her performance online, and it was gaining attention. Most surprising were the 3 emails from people identifying themselves as talent agents, and one from the dean of the prestigious Westridge Conservatory of Music, requesting a meeting. Mom, Lily called, sitting up in bed. Mom, you need to see this. Hien rushed in, still in her robe, worried by the urgency in her daughter's voice. What's wrong? Nothing's wrong, look. Lily handed her the phone. Her mother scanned through the messages, her expression shifting from concern to amazement. All these people saw you play? Apparently. Someone recorded it and put it online. Lily took the phone back, still trying to process what was happening. The dean of Westridge wants to meet with me. Westridge, Mom. Westridge Conservatory was the most elite music school in the region, a place Lily had never even considered applying to because of its steep tuition and competitive admissions. Even getting an audition there was an achievement. This is wonderful news. Hien sat on the edge of the bed, her eyes bright with pride. I told you that stage was where you belong. As Lily began responding to messages, her phone buzzed with an incoming call. Alex's name flashed on the screen. Have you seen it? he asked as soon as she answered, not bothering with a greeting. The video? Yes, just woke up to all the notifications. It's everywhere in my circle. Victoria's phone has been ringing off the hook. People asking who you are, where you study, if you're available for other events. Lily laughed nervously. This is crazy. The Dean of Westridge emailed me. Dean Parker? That's fantastic. He rarely reaches out personally to prospective students. Prospective student? I never even applied there. You might not need to, not in the traditional way. Alex's voice was filled with excitement. Lily, this could be a game changer for you. After talking with Alex, Lily spent the day responding to messages and trying to make sense of her suddenly expanded world. She arranged a meeting with Dean Parker for the following week and tentatively responded to the talent agents that she would be in touch after speaking with advisors. When Wednesday came around, she arrived at Alex's house for their regular lesson, feeling like she was living in a dream. I should be taking lessons from you at this point, Alex joked as he led her to the music room. Don't be ridiculous. You've made great progress. Lily set her bag down and took her usual seat beside the piano. Actually, I wanted to talk to you about something. Alex sat across from her. What's on your mind? With everything that's happened, the performance, the video, all these opportunities suddenly coming up. Lily paused, gathering her thoughts. I think I need to take a break from teaching for a while. At least until I figure out what's next. Alex nodded slowly. I understand. You need to focus on your own career right now. It's not just that, Lily admitted. I've been thinking about our arrangement and it doesn't feel right to keep taking your money when I should be the one paying you. Paying me? For what? For everything you've done. The performance opportunity. The connections, the practice space. You've changed my life, Alex. He looked genuinely surprised. Lily, I didn't do anything special. I just recognized what was already there. Your incredible talent. If anything, I'm the one who's benefited from our arrangement. My playing has improved more in these few weeks than it did in years with those fancy teachers my parents hired. Lily smiled, touched by his sincerity. Still, I can't keep teaching you when there's so much uncertainty in my own path right now. I get it. Alex leaned forward. But can I make a counterproposal? I'm listening. Keep coming here to practice whenever you want. The security code is yours to use. In exchange, maybe once a week we could play together, not as teacher and student, but as friends who share a passion for music. The offer was tempting. Continued access to the grand pianos would be invaluable as she prepared for whatever came next. And if she was honest with herself, she'd come to enjoy Alex's company beyond their professional relationship. Okay, she agreed, but no more payments. Deal. Alex grinned and extended his hand, which she shook to seal their new arrangement. The meeting with Dean Parker exceeded all of Lily's expectations. Not only did he offer her a spot at Westridge for the coming semester, but he also presented her with a full scholarship package. Your performance at Symphony Hall demonstrated exactly the kind of talent and presence we look for, he told her. Raw ability can be trained, but the emotional connection you have with the music, that's something special. As Lily left the imposing Westridge campus, scholarship offer in hand, she called her mother with the news. Hien's joyful tears could be heard clearly through the phone. Then she called Alex. Can I come over? She asked. I want to practice and I have news. Of course, I'm working from home today. An hour later, Lily was seated at the Bosendorfer, playing through a piece she was considering for her Westridge audition. Though she'd been accepted based on her Symphony Hall performance, all students still performed for placement in the appropriate level classes. Alex appeared in the doorway, leaning against the frame as he often did when she practiced. She finished the piece before acknowledging him. So, how did the meeting go? He asked. Lily couldn't contain her smile. Full scholarship, starting next semester. Lily, Alex's face lit up. That's incredible. Congratulations. He crossed the room and without thinking pulled her into a hug. For a moment they both froze, surprised by the sudden closeness. Then Lily returned the hug before stepping back, a slight blush coloring her cheeks. Sorry, Alex said, looking a bit flustered himself. I'm just really happy for you. It's okay. Thank you. Lily tucked a strand of hair behind her ear. I still can't believe it, Westridge, a full ride. They're lucky to have you. Alex sat down in his usual chair. Have you told your mom? First call I made. She cried, I cried. It was a whole thing. Lily laughed. Second call was to you. Something flickered in Alex's eyes at that. I'm honored. He paused. We should celebrate. Dinner tonight? There's a great Vietnamese place downtown that I've been wanting to try. Lily hesitated only briefly. I'd like that. The next few months brought changes for both of them. Lily finished her semester at City College and began preparing for her transition to Westridge. She took on a few private students, children from her neighborhood whose parents wanted them to learn from the YouTube piano girl, as she'd become known locally. The extra income allowed her mother to cut back on extra shifts at the hospital. Alex, true to his word, continued to play regularly, and their weekly sessions evolved into enjoyable duets and musical explorations. Sometimes they'd spend hours trying different interpretations of the same piece or introducing each other to music the other hadn't experienced. Their friendship deepened beyond music. Alex began joining Lily and her mother for dinner at their apartment occasionally, simple meals that he claimed were better than anything he ate at fancy restaurants. In turn, Lily became more comfortable in Alex's world, accompanying him to concerts and music events where she was increasingly recognized in her own right. 3 months after her Symphony Hall debut, Lily gave her first official recital as a Westridge student. The conservatory's recital hall was smaller than Symphony Hall but no less prestigious, with perfect acoustics and a storied history. Her mother sat in the front row, elegant in her best dress. Beside her was Alex, who had sent a ridiculous number of flowers to her dressing room before the performance. Also in attendance were several of her former professors from City College, Dean Parker and, to her surprise, Victoria from the charity gala, who had become something of a patron to her. As Lily took the stage, her eyes swept over the audience. So much had changed in such a short time. Just 6 months ago, she had been a part-time student working catering gigs to make ends meet. Now she was performing her own recital at one of the top conservatories in the country, with opportunities opening before her that she'd never dared to dream about. She wore Alex's bracelet with the piano charm, now joined by a second charm, a tiny star that her mother had given her to mark her acceptance to Westridge. The 2 small symbols represented everything that had brought her to this moment. Her family's unwavering support and the unexpected friendship that had opened doors she didn't know existed. The program she'd selected was challenging: Bach, Beethoven, Chopin, and ending with the Rachmaninoff piece that had started her journey. As she played the final, powerful chords, she glanced up to see both her mother and Alex watching her with identical expressions of pride and joy. The applause was enthusiastic, the audience rising to their feet. Lily bowed, her heart full. This was just the beginning. After the recital, there was a small reception in the conservatory's elegant atrium. As Lily circulated among the guests, accepting congratulations and fielding questions about her future plans, she caught sight of Alex standing alone by one of the tall windows. Hiding? She asked as she approached him. Observing, he corrected with a smile. This is your moment. I didn't want to intrude. You could never intrude. Lily leaned against the window beside him. I wouldn't be here without you. That's not true. You would have found your way eventually. Talent like yours doesn't stay hidden forever. Maybe, but it might have taken a lot longer. She looked out at the city lights. Thank you, Alex, not just for the opportunities, but for believing in me before anyone else did. Before I did even. Well, thank you too, he replied. For what? For reminding me why I loved music in the first place. Alex turned to face her fully. Lily, there's something I've been wanting to talk to you about. What is it? I'm starting a foundation for music education in underserved communities, the kind of program that might have found you years earlier and given you the opportunities you deserved from the beginning. Lily's eyes widened with interest. That sounds amazing. I want you to be part of it, not just as a performer or teacher, but as a partner in building it. Your perspective, your experience, they're invaluable. Me? But I don't know anything about running a foundation. Neither do I, Alex admitted with a laugh. But I know business, you know music, and we both know what it means to find your way back to something you love.